Hello, Seawolves, and welcome to this week's edition of the Stony Brook Media Group. I'm Jay Garicchio.
And I'm Angelique Powell. We have a great show for you today.
A former Canadian Olympic snowboarder has cruised onto the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list. Authorities held a press conference in Los Angeles offices yesterday to announce that 43-year-old Ryan Wedding had cracked the top 10. The former 2002 Olympian is being investigated as part of Operation Giant Slalom, a probe into one of the most sophisticated drug trafficking networks in North America. Under various aliases, including El Jefe, Giant, and Public Enemy, Wedding is accused of shipping hundreds of kilograms of cocaine from Colombia through Mexico and Southern California to Canada and other locations in the U.S. He's also been accused of orchestrating multiple murders in attempts to keep the scheme going. Akil Davis, the assistant director in charge of the FBI's LA field office, said it's believed Wedding is currently in Mexico, possibly living under the protection of the Sinaloa drug cartel. Wedding is the 535th fugitive to be placed on the top 10 since its inception in 1950.
Norwegian Crown Princess Mette Marit's lung condition has worsened according to the palace yesterday. Marit has been diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis, which causes scarring of the lungs and shortness of breath. Since October of 2018, the princess has had to cancel public affairs and duties due to her illness. The palace has also confirmed to CBS News that the Crown Princess will need more rest as her condition continues to change.
Well, we here at the Media Group express our best wishes out to the Norwegian Crown. Angie, have you felt that the world has just been moving too quickly?
Too fast.
Well, I think a lot of Americans can agree, thanks to the political landscape in this country. Well, thankfully for us, Miriam Gerges and Thomas Pardo have the latest with the Oval Office. Guys, take it away.
President Trump's unpredictable tariff decisions are causing economic uncertainty and straining relationships with U.S. allies. After initially imposing tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada, he abruptly delayed most of them until April 2nd, following discussions with Mexico's president. Canada was later granted a similar pause, adding to the confusion. This back-and-forth approach has unsettled investors, leading to a 1.8% drop in the stock market on Thursday and a 3.6% decline for the week, erasing nearly all gains since Trump's re-election. Businesses and foreign governments remain unsure whether the tariffs will be permanently lifted or reinstated. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has been openly critical of the tariffs, while Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum has taken a more diplomatic stance. The uncertainty surrounding Trump's trade policies is raising concerns about long-term economic stability and the future of North American trade relations. With the April 2nd deadline approaching, it remains unclear whether Trump will extend the pause or reinstate the tariffs, keeping markets and global leaders on edge. It's sure to be interesting what will transpire leading up to that deadline.
I think it's very interesting, especially since Trump, that was his focus point in his address to Congress, which, speaking of, on Tuesday, President Trump delivered his first address to a joint session of Congress since returning to the White House. Speaking for a record-breaking hour and 40 minutes, Trump opened by claiming his administration has accomplished more in 43 days than most do in 4 years. He emphasized new tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China, dismissing economic concerns and calling them a necessary response to foreign trade practices. He also addressed the war in Ukraine, reading a letter from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, stating that Ukraine is ready to negotiate peace. The statement followed Trump's temporary suspension of U.S. military aid to Ukraine. He also said discussions with Russia have been serious and that both sides are ready for peace. Throughout the speech, Democrats voiced their opposition. Some held signs with phrases like Save Medicaid and Musk steals, while others, including Representatives Maxwell Frost of Florida and Jasmine Crockett of Texas, walked out. Texas Congressman Al Green was removed from the chamber after repeatedly heckling the president. Trump also reaffirmed his support for Elon Musk, who has been involved in government restructuring. He praised Musk's efforts to cut federal spending and said any government official resisting changes would be removed from office. Trump did not introduce many new policies, but focused on criticizing the previous administration. He blamed former President Joe Biden for inflation, crime, and border security issues, referring to him as the worst president in American history. He also reiterated his stance against wokeness in government, schools, and the military. Trump did not address the upcoming government shutdown, which is set to happen in a few days if Congress does not reach a funding agreement. That's it for Politico. Back to you at the desk.
And now, let's go to Anjali Vishwanath with international news.
Thanks, Angelique. First up, the latest from the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russia launched a major missile strike on Ukraine's gas and energy infrastructure last night, shortly after the U.S. cut off intelligence sharing with Ukraine. President Trump stated that he is, quote, strongly considering sanctions on Russia to encourage a ceasefire, a significant shift from his previous position. Just earlier this week, President Trump accused Ukrainian President Zelensky of, quote, gambling with World War III during a hostile meeting in the White House. Following that meeting, the United Kingdom assembled a 20-country coalition to reaffirm support for Ukraine and assist with peace planning. In the coming weeks, Trump is expected to decide whether to maintain or revoke the legal status of over 200,000 Ukrainian refugees. And the United States and Ukraine are scheduled to meet in Saudi Arabia to discuss a ceasefire framework. Elsewhere, according to the Associated Press, Taiwan is boosting military spending in response to, quote, rapidly changing international situations and the escalating threats from adversaries. Taiwanese Defense Minister Wellington Koo says that they are planning to increase their defense budget and deepen cooperation with the U.S. and other allied nations. China sees Taiwan as a, quote, runaway province and often calls for the reunification of the independent island nation and the mainland. As of writing, China has taken no military action to absorb Taiwan. However, China regularly infringes upon Taiwanese air and sea territory, and last Thursday, China conducted shooting drills off Taiwan's southwestern coast. China's actions have also unsettled its neighbors, with Australia and New Zealand saying that China should give more warning before they conduct live fire exercises in the seas between their countries. On a lighter note, this week, wild beavers were reintroduced to the British Isles after 400 years of extinction. Beavers are considered to be, quote, ecosystem engineers by environmental scientists because of their ability to shape the landscape around them. Conservationists are celebrating the return of this keystone species to the wilderness, which signals a larger push towards recovering and preserving the natural wetlands of the United Kingdom. That's all from the world. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Anjali, and some damn good news to close our segment there. Now let's head back to the Vertical Monitor with Maya Duclay and Imra Ahmed waiting to give us the latest in science and tech.
Welcome to this week's edition of Health Tech Today. I'm Maya Duclay.
And I'm Imra Ahmed.
This Sunday, most of the U.S. will set their clocks forward an hour for daylight savings time. While it might seem like a small change, research shows it can have noticeable effects on our health daily routines. Studies suggest if the shift disrupts our circadian rhythm, that's the body's internal clock that regulates sleep, metabolism, and even heart function. Some research links daylight saving time to a temporary increase in heart attacks, strokes, and car accidents, particularly in the days following the switch. Experts recommend gradually adjusting your sleep schedule leading up to the change, getting early morning sunlight, and minimizing screen exposure before bed. This will help reset your internal clock. There's an ongoing debate about whether the U.S. should make daylight savings time permanent or stick to the standard time year-round, with health organizations favoring the latter for better sleep alignment.
New research from Wuhan, China could provide a solution to the growing issue of microplastic pollution. Scientists from Wuhan and Guangxi University have developed a sponge made from cotton fibers and squid bone that effectively removes up to 99.8% of microplastics from water. The sponge can absorb up to 30 times its weight in water and capture particles as small as 20 micrometers. It is reusable and can be easily cleaned, maintaining up to 95% efficiency after multiple uses. This low-cost, eco-friendly solution shows promise for addressing microplastic contamination in aquatic ecosystems. With further development, it could become a key tool in the fight against pollution in our waterways. That's all from the STEM Corner. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you both. Now, Angie, are you planning on doing anything special this weekend?
Actually, I am. I'm having a little gals' day in Greenport. What about you?
Well, I'm picking up a foster dog tomorrow, and I'm anxious to see how my dog at home is going to react to his presence and amidst realizing it's not going to be a one-time visit. Well, since you're going out, you're going to need to know what the weather's like, right?
Definitely do. Now let's go to Stamatia Katsaros with the weather.
Well, we're not in our usual spot of Port Jefferson, thanks to our friends at EarthCam for providing this beautiful shot of Waikiki Beach, Hawaii behind me. A fun fact about Hawaii is that it does not follow daylight saving time, which starts this Sunday. Speaking of daylight saving, let's get into it with some fun facts. So it was originally started as a joke, but then it was later used in World War I to conserve energy. Germany was the first country to ever use daylight saving. And as I mentioned before, Arizona and Hawaii are the two United States that do not use daylight saving. Arizona because summer days are hot and long as it is, and Hawaii is too close to the equator for it to have any real impact. Japan, India, and China are other countries that do not use daylight saving. And don't worry, if you like sleeping in, we'll be able to turn our clocks back an hour on November 2nd, so hang in there. Let's get into the weather this weekend. So this weekend will start off pretty windy. Today we'll reach wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour, so please be careful if you are going to travel. It's going to be high of 40s all weekend, mostly sunny, and our lows won't drop down too far below 30. Moving on to the rest of the week, we're going to see the sun most days, our highs remaining in the 50s, mid to upper 50s, and our lows getting down to about 40s, maybe one day in the 30s. Thursday is the one day to be careful. It's going to rain, but don't worry because it'll be warm, and we're reaching that warm summer, spring feeling. So let's kick off this week with some daylight savings, and we'll throw it back to you at the news desk.
Thanks, Tia. Now let's head back to the Vertical, where Anthony O'Brien and Adrian Esposito wait with the news and entertainment.
Lawyer by day, vigilante by night. The first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again premiered Tuesday night on Disney+.
Charlie Cox returns as he reprises the role of the masked vigilante, Daredevil. He stars alongside fellow attorneys Vincent D'Onofrio, Deborah Ann Wool, and Eldon Henson, who play Wilson Fisk, Karen Page, and Foggy Nelson, respectively.
Born Again is a continuation of the original series that was released on Netflix from 2015 to 2018. It was initially planned to be 1 season of 18 episodes, but was then split up into 2 9-episode seasons.
A new episode will drop every Tuesday for April 15th, with 2 episodes on March 25th. The second season, which just began filming, is scheduled to premiere in early to mid-2026.
This past Sunday was one of the biggest nights in Hollywood, the Oscars! From the performances to the lucky winners in each category, it was a pretty eventful night to witness.
That's right, Adrienne. And when it comes to movies, it was a great night for Anora. The movie, which is about a young woman from Brooklyn marrying the son of an oligarch, swept the categories, winning 5 awards, including Best Picture and Best Actress for the main character, Ari, played by Mikey Madison.
It was also a great night for my named twin, Adrian Brody, as he won an Oscar for Best Actor for his role in The Brutalist. He beat out some fierce competition like Timothée Chalamet and Coleman Domingo, who were also nominated in the same category.
There are also some special performances. The show opened with a duet of Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, which brought the crowd to their feet. Towards the second half of the ceremony, there was also a vocal performance from Doja Cat, Lisa, and Ray.
Now that's what you call a star-studded show. Altogether, Oscars Night 2025 was definitely a night to remember. That's all for entertainment this week. Let's send it back to the desk.
The Stony Brook men's basketball team may not have had the greatest regular season, but 2 bright spots shined yesterday afternoon as the all-conference teams were released. SBU's CJ Luster cracked the All-CAA third team, starting all 31 games this year. Luster finished top 5 in the conference in three-pointers made, three-point percentage, and free throw percentage. His 18.4 points per game were the 4th highest scoring average in all of the CAA. His teammate point guard Colin O'Connor earned his way onto the all-rookie team. O'Connor was very much an Ironman this year as he played all 40 minutes in 8 out of 10 contests to close this year. His 1.34 assist-to-turnover ratio ranked 12th in the conference and 2nd among freshmen. Luster, O'Connor, and the rest of the Seawolves begin play in the CAA Championship Tournament today at 2 p.m. in Washington, D.C. Fans can catch the action at go.flowsports.tv. Transitioning from the hardwood to the keyboards, a first-of-its-kind League of Legends tournament is set to begin this coming weekend. The tournament, known as First Stand, is the first international tournament in the game's competitive history. 5 different regions across the globe will send their best teams to the tournament in Seoul, South Korea, after the initial round-robin stages. The teams will be sorted into a knockout bracket based on their performance, and the prize pool for the event is $1 million, with the winning team taking home $300,000. Fans hoping to watch players forge a new path to victory can watch along the official Riot Games Twitch and YouTube channels. Now back to you, Jake and Angelique.
Well, thank you, Frankie. Well, with all the money being thrown around in the esports industry these days, might not have been my smartest decision to put down the joysticks. Well, that'll do it for this week's episode of the Stony Brook Media Group. For our producer, Trinity Miller, and the rest of our SBMG crew, I'm Jacob Ricchio.
And I'm Angelique Powell. Have a great week, Seawolves.